Hey, what's up? It's Breyonna. So, I don't know if you're this way too, but I woke up this morning and decided mentally that it is fall now and that I want all the fall vibes. Like, I don't know what happened, but I was just like, you know what? I'm ready for fall. So, because of that, we're going to be testing out the brand new Juvias Place, the Rebel Honey palette, which is the last Rebel palette in my series of testing out their quads. So, if you'd like to check out any of the other looks I have done using the quads, I'll have them all linked in the description box down below for you. But literally, this palette just screams fall vibes. And it's just so warm and rich and just like literally my kind of colors today. And also I put on a little bee necklace to kind of like match the honey bee kind of vibes, and I'm just obsessed. So I just pried my eyes off camera, and I will say I haven't planned out a look yet. Like, I'm not too sure what kind of look I want to do, so we're just going to slap some eyeshadow on and hope that turns out really cool. But the first shade I'm going to be going in with is this like yellowy matte. And also I will note that out of all the quads, this one is the only one that is mostly matte. Like, there's 3 mattes in here and 1 shimmer. Whereas with the other palettes, there are 2 mattes and 2 shimmers. So I'm not too sure why they did this one this way and not like the others. Again, not mad though, because I do prefer mattes. But I'm just going to be taking this shade. Oh my gosh, it was so pigmented. I did not know what I was expecting the shade to be a little bit more on the buildable side, but okay, I'm just going to be taking this in my crease using this Anastasia A25 blending brush. Yeah. Like, Juvias is known for pigment, but I mean, I thought I was just going to have to do like 2 layers, not just 1. And also, this is kind of like a mac and cheese, kind of like yellowy, orangey kind of color. Very, very warm. And I'm just gonna start blending it upwards towards my brow. Honestly, I don't think you'd have to build this one up. Like, 1 layer is like good to go with it. I am gonna do 2 because I'm nosy. Yeah, like, it does make it a little bit richer, but again, like, right away it has a lot of pigment. So I am gonna take a little bit more and kind of like feather it out pretty far on this outer edge. But I will say, like, this shade is just blending out so easy. Like, if you're a beginner, it's one of those ones where you just pop it in the crease, do a couple circles, and it's like, boom, blended. So let's just start deepening things up. Again, I don't know what kind of shape I want to do, or if I even want to cut the crease, so we're just going to kind of like roll with it. But I'm going to go in with this more like orangey kind of shade. And this would be like the mid-tone one. But this one almost kind of looks like a squash kind of color. It kind of reminds me of like butternut squash. I don't know if you're this way too, but I don't like squash. Like, I don't mind it if it's roasted in the oven, but it has to be made a certain way, and if it's any like mush, I won't eat it. But I'm just going to be taking it on this brush from Morphe. This is an M433. And again, I'm just going to be popping that in my crease, and dang, that is so pigmented. I will say, like, it's pigmented, but I don't feel like I would need both of these shades in the same palette. Like, you can kind of see, like, they're very similar. But I still feel like I got more richness out of this shade. Yeah, like, I would have loved to shimmer this color in this palette. Like, an orangey gold would have been super pretty. But I am going to go in with a little bit more. But speaking of squash, like, I don't like certain textures. And, like, squash and, like, eggplant, if they're made wrong, just, ugh, like, the mushiness gets to me. I don't know what it is, because I don't mind mashed potatoes, but, like, the squashy kind of like mush, just ugh. Let me know if you're a picky eater too. Like, I'm picky, but I eat a lot of different things and I'm like willing to try things. But like certain things are just no-go. And I'm also going to take a little bit and kind of like pack it on this outer edge of my lid. Okay, so now let's go in with the dark brown in the palette and like deepen the crease up and just like get a little bit more smokiness in this look. But honestly, now that I look at this color stream, I'm actually surprised that they included this kind of gold in here with this being like so orange. Because this almost looks like an antique gold in a way. Like, it's not like a cool toned antique gold, like it does have a little bit more warmth to it. But still, like, I'm actually surprised about this one. But I'm just going to be taking this shade on a Morphe M507. It's just like a small little blending brush. But let's pop it in the crease, and ooh, that is just so rich. Oh, I love these kinds of shades. Especially during like fall time. Because it kind of reminds me of, you know, like when you look outside and like the trees are changing. Like, these kind of shades just give me that vibe. And because of that, it just has like that fall kind of goodness. And I don't know, like, there's something about fall that I just really love. Like, I'm not really into winter. Like, I like the aesthetic of winter with like the blue and, you know, like the snow and whatnot, but I don't like the cold. Whereas with fall, I like everything about it. And also, if you are a beginner, like these mattes are very easy to blend out. They're not giving me any problems. I am gonna go in with a second layer. See what happens. So I will say this deeper shade is a little bit more on the buildable side. Again, it does have a lot of pigment right away. But if you want it to look like it does in the pan, you're looking about 2 layers. Let's do a third just to see what happens, but yeah, I'd say about 2 layers. And since I got a little bit chatty, I got a little bit of a situation. So I'm just gonna go back in with that brush that we applied that squash shade with. No additional product. And I'm just gonna kiss the edge. Okay, so we are gonna do something a little bit different than I normally do. So I'm gonna take that dark brown that we just used, and I'm gonna take it on this little shader brush from Anastasia. This is an A13. And I'm literally gonna pack it all over the lid. Now, if you're like me and you kind of have slightly hooded eyes, you'll want to make sure that you bring the deeper shade up into your crease a little bit farther, because otherwise it's going to make your eyes look like really small. But this is going to give us the framework for the shimmer here in a second. Okay, so now let's do the lid, and I don't know if this is going to look good or not, but let's go in with the shimmer shade. But instead of using a brush, I'm just going to use my finger. If you have nails, you can use a brush if you want, but as you can see, I don't got any. But you know, that actually looks like a warm tone gold on my finger. That actually is kind of surprising me because it almost looks like a cool tone neutral gold in the palette, but it's warm on my finger. So this is going to be fairly interesting to see how it looks. So I'm just going to apply to the center of my lid. Let's see what happens. Ooh, that's really cute. It is a little bit more on the subtle side. Keep in mind I am applying it on top of a matte. I would say this one's a little bit more of like a wearable wet sheen kind of shimmer. It's not like the super like metallic crazy extra kind. It's a very soft and wearable kind, which I feel like just fits the palette a little bit more, especially with the colors in here being a little bit more on the neutral side. Now I am going to go in with another layer to see if we can get a little bit more popping, but you can kind of see on my finger, like it just has like a wet kind of look to it. It's not like crazy looking. So yeah, like the second layer does amp it up, but definitely more on the soft side. Which you guys know, I like more like extra crazy shimmer shades, but I feel like with the look that we have going on, this one's fitting perfect. And I'm also kind of like bringing it up a little bit into my crease since I do have slightly hooded eyes. Just a little bit. Because if I keep this shade mostly on my lid, it's just going to make me look like I have a protruding brow bone, which I don't want to make it look like that. So kind of a little trick I like to do is just bring it up just a little bit into the crease. This will help open up the eye too. And to make it look a little bit more put together, I'm just going to go back in with the brush that we applied the darkest shade with no additional product. And I'm just going to kiss the top of the shimmer right here in the crease. And a little bit on the edges. So I just did my complexion products off camera, but let's start working on the lower lash line. And I'm just going to go in with that deepest shade first. And I'm just going to be taking it on a small little shader brush, I guess, from ColourPop. This is an E29. And I'm just going to run it as close as I can to where my lashes grow out. So on my brush, I have the lightest 2 matte shades mixed. And I'm using, again, a ColourPop E27. It's kind of like a pencil brush, but a little bit more like a little blending brush. And I'm just going to run this right underneath. So since this palette doesn't have like an inner corner highlight shade, and you guys know I really like a blinding inner corner, I'm just going to go in with my highlighter that I used today, and this is ColourPop's Flexitarian. I can't like show you fully because otherwise it's going to like come out because it's kind of broken. Literally one of my favorite highlighters, but I'm just going to be taking it on this little pencil brush from Morphe. This is an M431. Just pop it in the inner corner and it's just so blinding. I love this highlighter so much. Literally goes with everything. I feel like I look like pumpkin spice right now. Like honestly, I just love how this look turned out. But I will say like this palette is just really nice quality. And if you're into these kinds of colors, I think you're gonna really enjoy it. I will say, is it the most unique palette I've ever used? No, like I have a lot of palettes in my collection and I have a lot of Juvia's Place palettes at that, and I feel like I already have these ones. So if you're like me and you have a lot of palettes, you probably already have shades very similar to these. But again, if you're looking for a cute little quad for on the go, or if you're wanting to experiment with these kinds of colors and you don't know where to start, I think this palette is going to be amazing for you. Because again, the mattes in here are just very pigmented, very easy to use, and if you're a beginner, you are not going to struggle blending these out. Like, you literally just apply it, do a couple circles, and it's boom, blended. Super, super nice formula. The only thing is with the mattes, I feel like I don't need both of these lighter shades. Like, I feel like I could have gotten rid of one of these and had like a different shimmer in here, like maybe like a pumpkin-y, squashy kind of shimmer would have been really pretty in here. But with these looking so similar when applied and this being a quad palette, it kind of bums me out. And as for the shimmer in here, like, don't get me wrong, it's really cute. I just wish it had a little bit more of like a wow factor to it, especially with there only being one shimmer in here. It definitely has more of that wearable wet sheen kind of vibe, whereas I wish it just had a little bit more like sparkle to it. Again, very personal preference. It's just, I would have liked something a little bit more like punchy. But yeah, so in the comments down below, let me know what you think about this look, and also let me know what your favorite Rebel quad is so far. For me personally, I definitely prefer the Rebel Army. Like, that palette is just so unique and fun and just has an amazing formula to it. But before you go though, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and also give this video a like. And if you'd like to check me out over on Instagram or TikTok, it's at Breyonna as well. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye!